Salut, welcome to French for Kate Languages. Thank you for downloading this free introductory lesson on French phonics. You can access the worksheet I'm going to be talking us through in the lesson by going to katelanguages.co.uk and clicking on courses. If you're enjoying my free content, why not head over to buymeacoffee.com/katelanguages to show your support. Thank you. So today we're going to be looking at French phonics. So this is a really great introductory lesson and really, really useful for all learners of French, in my opinion, but especially right at the beginning. So we're going to be looking at 5 French sounds that are different to English. French might seem like a slightly irregular language when you try to marry together the way that it's written and the way that it sounds, but actually it does have some really, really strict rules that you can stick to, and they're pretty regular. So the first sound we're going to look at is made by the letters J, or G followed by E, or G followed by I. This sounds like the j sound in the English word television. So the j in television. And it's actually a really, really common sound. So for example, je, meaning I, uses the J, the j sound, je meaning I, janvier meaning January, manger to eat, or girafe, which means giraffe. So I'll go through those again, and you can repeat them after me to try and say the sounds yourself. So remembering it's like the je in television. So je, janvier, manger, and girafe. Just a note here on the letter G. If it's followed by an A or an O or a U, it's a hard G sound. So examples here are gâteau, which means cake, gomme, which means rubber, or guillotine, which you may have heard before, which means guillotine. And that leads us actually on to the second sound, IL. So this sounds like E, which we just heard in guillotine. So examples of this are gentil, which means nice. A little note on this one, the gentil, as it's written here, G-E-N-T-I-L, is the masculine singular form of this adjective. When it's feminine, it is spelled G-E-N-T-I-L-L-E, and it's pronounced exactly the same. So gentil for the masculine, gentil for the feminine. Either way, the IL combination sounds like E. Another really common word we have here is famille, meaning family, famille, or the word for girl, which is fille. So again, I'm going to say them with a slight pause afterwards so you can repeat them after me. Gentil, famille, fille. The next sound we're going to look at is the letter R. So in French, the letter R comes from right at the back of your throat. If you speak German, it's a similar place, but I'd say it's almost like the German R is a bit softer than the French R. If you speak Spanish, it's completely different. So yeah, so it's a fun one to practice. So you get right to the back of your throat, and it's a r, right from the back here. R. Again, it's a really common sound and really useful to be able to pronounce correctly. A common verb that you might come across to watch is regarder. This is a great one because it's got a couple of this r sound, but also to make a note of the fact that ER verbs, so these are one of the most common verbs in French, ER verbs, ER on the end, we don't pronounce it with this r sound. Okay, I think that would be quite hard at the end of the word. So it's actually an E sound. So ER is actually an E sound. So regarder, regarder. Another really common word, mother, is mère, mère. So this r sound is not just at the beginning, of a word. It can be in the middle or towards the end like this. So mère. And then the number 3 is trois. Trois. So this is quite hard to get from a t to a r to a w. Lots of, actually it's quite a lot of consonant sounds you've got here. So trois, trois. So again, I'm going to say them all again with a slight pause so you can repeat them after me. Regardez, mère, trois. Another really great sound that we have in French is the nasal N. So I often find if you've got a cold, you can speak French brilliantly because it's an sound. So it's like if you pinch your nose like this, or if you with your blocks up when you have a cold. So the letter combinations EN, AN, and ON all make the same sound in French, and it's on. So on. The N, as you can hear, there is a nasal sound. It's an on sound. So it's not n like in English. It's on. For example, the word for year or years, and we're going to be looking at silent letters in another lesson because they're also really important in French. So the word for year is en, as you can see, an is en, and years with the s on the end is also en. So this is a really common when you're saying your age. For example, j'ai 20 ans, en. The word for my is mon, another really useful common word, mon, mon. And then the word for parents is parents. And just a note here, a lot of words in French look exactly the same as the English word. So parents here looks exactly the same as parents, it's spelled exactly the same, but it's pronounced differently. And often these can be words that people are more likely to mispronounce because you see the word and it looks like English and you think, I'll just say it like English, but you need to remember that you need to say it differently. So parents, parents, and you've got your r in the middle there as well to practice that a bit. So again, I'm going to say them all. There's a slight pause afterwards so you can repeat after me. En, mon, parents. Another little note on this as well, that the letter combination IN also has a nasal N, but it sounds more like an. For example, intelligent, which means intelligent, intelligent. And actually you've got your on at the end here as well. So you've got the two vowel combinations. So intelligent, or the word for rabbit, lapin, lapin. So it can be at the start or the end of the word, it's still the same sound, lapin. And the last sound that we're going to look at, this is more to do with spelling, I would say, than actual sound. So the sound O, it's not quite as English as O, can be made up with a number of different letter combinations. So once you learn this and remember this, again, as I say, it might look difficult in terms of spelling, but actually it's really regular and it will pretty much always be this pronunciation. So AU can make the sound O, so aussi, aussi, which means also, aussi. EAU also makes up the sound O, and that is a word in and of itself that means water. O means water, or gâteau, which is an example we had earlier with the hard G sound as well, if you remember. So gâteau meaning cake, or just simply the letter O, like the word mot, which means word, mot. So again, I'm going to say these three words with a slight pause afterwards so you can repeat them after me. Aussi, gâteau, mot. Okay, so there are 5 different sounds. So let's just go through them one more time. So J, G, or GI is je. IL is E. R comes from the back of your throat. R. The nasal N, so on, or an. Incidentally, the number 1, or the word for a, is un, which is UN. And again, you've got that nasal N there, un. And then the letter O, which can be made up of, the sound O. which can be made up with different letter combinations. So, au, aussi, au, gâteau. Okay, so to practice, we're going to have a little look at this text here. Don't worry if you don't understand it. If this is literally the first time you're ever accessing any French, I don't expect you won't necessarily fully understand the whole text. But there are lots of these sounds that we've just been practicing before. So I thought it was a really, really great text for us to practice with. So I'm going to read each of the sentences out loud. Either you can try to work out how to pronounce them first and then listen to how I say them, or you can wait for me to say them and then you can repeat it after me. Or you could wait for me to say them, repeat it after me, then rewind a little bit and then try and say it yourself and then check that you've got it right again. Okay, so I'm just going to read it to start with a pause after each sentence. Then I'm going to go through the different sounds that we've just been talking about and just show you and emphasize the different sounds that we've just been talking about. Okay. Salut, ça va? Je m'appelle Domba et j'ai 11 ans. Voici ma famille. Il y a ma mère, mon petit frère, ma petite sœur et moi. J'ai un père et 4 grands-parents aussi. Ma mère a 38 ans et mon père a 40 ans. Mon frère a 6 ans et ma sœur a 8 ans. Okay, so lots of these letter combinations here and different sounds. So like I say, if you want to go backwards and forwards and listen to that as many times as you want to get the pronunciation and practice it, that's brilliant, go ahead. So the first sound that we heard a few times here is the sound je. Okay, so as we can see here in the first sentence with je m'appelle, so je m'appelle, this is really commonly one of the first things you learn in French. My name is literally means I call myself, je m'appelle, and j'ai 11 ans, j'ai 11 ans, so je m'appelle, j'ai 11 ans, and then later on here we've got j'ai un père. So obviously because the je sound means, you know, the word je means I, this is going to be a really, really common one, really, really useful to practice. The next sound that we had was, I'm trying to remember, il. Okay, so we've got this a couple of times here. For example, voici ma famille, ma famille, voici ma famille. The next sentence, we do have the word, so the letters il, but we're actually saying il y a, and we need to say the le here. We're going to talk about this a bit more in the lesson on silent letters, because we have silent letters and what we call liaison, which means if the next word starts with a vowel, you actually change the way you pronounce the end of the previous word sometimes. So words that are sometimes silent, you then actually have to pronounce. So this is why we actually say the le here, il y a, il y a. As a rule, I would say that with il, you do say the L as well. So there's always an exception to rules, isn't there? So the il there. And actually, just a note on this. So je m'appelle, you can see here the E-double-L-E, you need to say the L. So it's only il that's an E sound. If it's E-double-L-E, or I'm trying to think if any words with A-double-L-E or anything like that, but then you need to say that the le. So je m'appelle, but ma famille, ma famille. Just seeing if there's any other ILLEs in there. No. So what was the next one we had? R, lots and lots of R's here. So this is great fun to keep practicing. So family words are great for practicing the R. So mère, mother. Frère, got two in there. Frère. Can I just say, I am saying these in a slightly exaggerated way. You don't always necessarily need to say frère with those. So mère, frère, père. We've already had the word parent, grand as well. So sometimes again, we've got a couple of consonants that you have to put together. So g, r, might take a bit of practice to be able to say that. Grand, grand, grand-parent. The letter 4, which is what this means, quatre. I've honestly heard a lot of people just say cat. Seems to be a perfectly acceptable way to pronounce it. There is an R there, so quatre, quatre. A slight exception to this, but it follows the same as what I was saying about regarder. So on the end of your word, the R on sœur. Do you know, I was just going to say it's not pronounced, and now and then I just pronounced it. Ma petite sœur. Sœur. Yeah, it is pronounced. It's not the same as regarder, sorry, but it's softer. I would say it's slightly softer than what you'd have, say, in grand, which is a harder r sound. Another example, we've got ma mère, and we've got trente. Trente. So again, you've got a couple of consonant sounds there. T followed by r. Trente. Quarante. Quarante. And that's it probably. Okay. The next sound that we had, the nasal N. Okay, loads of these as well. All right, so onze, onze. So it's not ons with a n, it's onze, onze, on. They almost rhyme, but just don't say the S on the years. So onze, on. And then to go a bit further along, what else have we got? Mon, which we had as an example above, didn't we? And then remember I said un, meaning or one, is also a nasal N. The reason I didn't include it as a specific example above is because UN, once you know that N is a nasal N, is fairly, it kind of makes sense that it's un. Where people have trouble with pronunciation is where the difference between ON, AN, and EN. In fact, that there is no difference. That's how they're pronounced. And then IN being an. So that's where some confusion can sometimes lie. So what other examples have we got here? Grand. So the AN in grand. Parent. So again, almost kind of rhymes, but we've got different vowels here and different letter combinations. So grand parent. Trente. Trente. So the EN in trente is another en. And then ma mère a 38 ans. En. The word for years. Mon, again we've got, and then quarante. Quarante is an AN again, but this is all an en sound. So en. 40 ans. And we've got mon, again, mon frère, à 6 ans. So we've got the en again, and then ma sœur à 8 ans. So en a few times, because we're giving a lot of people's ages here in this text. Okay, and the last sound was O. So what examples have we got here? So we've simply got the letter O in, like mon. Yeah, we haven't got any examples here, have we? Apart from in mon. There we go. Okay. So, oh yes, we have. Here it is. Aussi. So I knew there was one somewhere. Oh, the O in aussi. O, aussi. Okay. That is your O sound with it, made with an AU. All right. So I'm going to read through the text again a bit faster so you can hear the pronunciation. And then we're going to think about how to translate it into English as well, so you actually understand what the text means. So again, you can do this how you want. You can listen and repeat after me. You can just listen for the pronunciation without repeating, or you can try and say it before me and then use my pronunciation of it to check that you've got it right. Okay, so here we go again. Salut, ça va? Je m'appelle Domba et j'ai 11 ans. Voici ma famille. Il y a ma mère, mon petit frère, ma petite sœur et moi. J'ai un père et 4 grands-parents aussi. Ma mère a 38 ans et mon père a 40 ans. Mon frère a 6 ans et ma sœur a 8 ans. So to understand it, we're just going to translate it. Hopefully the picture will give you a bit of a clue as well for what it means. So again, if you want to pause this, work out how to translate it yourself and then just check, go ahead and do that. Give yourself a bit of a challenge. If you just want to kind of think, okay, I've kind of had a bit of an idea in my head, let's just see what she says. That's great. So I'm going to read each sentence and then translate it into English. So, salut, ça va? Je m'appelle Domba et j'ai 11 ans means, hi, how are you? My name is Domba and I'm 11 years old. Voici ma famille. Here's my family. Il y a ma mère, mon petit frère, ma petite sœur et moi. So there is my mum, my little brother, my little sister, and me. So this little boy, the one who's standing above his smaller siblings, is the one who I've decided, I mean, I just found the picture and made up a text, obviously, but he's the one who's Domba. So this is his mum and then his little siblings here. So, j'ai un père et 4 grands-parents aussi. I have a father and 4 grandparents as well. Aussi is as well or also. Ma mère a 38 ans et mon père a 40 ans. My mum is 38 and my dad is 40. Mon frère a 6 ans et ma sœur a 8 ans. My brother is 6 years old and my sister is 8 years old. There we go. So that's what it sounds like. All right. So let's see how much you can remember. How do you say the letter, so the letter J in French? So if we think of the word for I, for example, or the word for January was one of the ones that we had as an example, how do we say them in French? The second question in the quiz. I'll tell you the answer in a minute. Which other letter combinations make the same sound as J? Where does the R sound come from in French? So if you can remember where that comes from within your mouth or throat. How do you pronounce, this is question number 4 on now, sorry, how do you pronounce A-N, E-N and O-N in French? And then question 5, which of these letter combinations do not make the sound O? So your 4 different options here are A-U, E-A-U, O, and OU. Okay, so as we've just done these, hopefully these are fresh in your mind. What I'd highly, highly recommend is leaving it a little while and coming back to this quiz and seeing if you can still remember them. So leave it, I don't know, a day, a couple of days, then come back again in a week, then come back again in a couple of weeks' time, and keep testing yourself on things like this, because again, you know, these are really key important sounds in French. Okay, so how do you say the letter J in French? It's je, like the je in television. Okay, so like the S sound in television, je. So je or janvier, the examples. 2, which other letter combinations make the same sound as J? It's G-I and G-E. So remember giraffe. I can't remember the example I had for G-E. We had gentil, didn't we? Manger as well. There you go, there's the example. Where does the letter R sound, so the R sound come from in French? Is right at the back of your throat, so r, so it's a r sound. How do you pronounce A-N, E-N and O-N? Is on, and remember The N is a nasal N, so like that, so on. All three of them, on. For a bonus point, can you remember how to pronounce I-N, like in the word intelligent? It's an. So well done if you got your bonus point there. And the last one, which of these letter combinations do not make the sound O? And it's OU. So OU is U, actually. So AU is O, EAU is also O, and O, the letter O is also O. So OU is U. Okay, so well done if you've got all 5 of those, plus your bonus, so maybe you've got 6. And hopefully that's given you a good insight into some key sounds in French that are different to English, hopefully not too difficult, and should give you a really good foundation for being able to look at words in French and understand how you need to say them and how you need to pronounce them. So I hope you enjoyed that. As I said, if you have managed to access the worksheet, that's great. If not, go to katelanguages.co.uk and click on courses, and it's there. And if you're really enjoying all my free content here, then please think about buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/katelanguages. That'd be wonderful. And I hopefully see you for another lesson quite soon. Thanks.